إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Last time we started talking about Bab al-Nadr and we talked about حكم النذر في الإسلام, and we said الراجح مكروه, راجح أنه مكروه for someone to make a nadr, and we said definition of nadr is to make something that is not obligatory, to make something that يعني لك به سعة, something that is not obligated on you by swearing, you make it obligatory. So you say لله علي أن أصوم كل خميس السنة القادمة مثلا. You make another pledge that you'll fast every Thursday next year. Now it becomes binding that you have to fast, but it's makruh. Even though we said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised those who fulfill their nudur, yufuna bin nadr, praising the believers. And we said the jama' bayna karahiyah and madh bil ayah. We said combining and between the hukum of the nadr that it's makruh or not recommended, and the praise for those for fulfilling nadr in the ayah. We said making the nadr is makruh, but fulfilling nadr is mamduh. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the ayah says yufuna bin nadr. He doesn't say يعملون النذر أو ينذرون. He says yufun. So المدح لمن أوفى. المدح for someone who fulfills his nadr, but الكراهية for someone who makes nadr in the first place. So that is the difference between those two. And even some of Ahl al-Ilm went to the point to say in nadr haram, making nadr haram, لكن الراجح based on the adillah that it's makruh and shouldn't be done. But if it's done, then it becomes binding, as we will see. عن ابن عمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى عن النذر. Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم forbade nadr, forbade to do nadr, وقال إنه لا يأتي بخير. That the nadr doesn't bring any good. Nadr doesn't bring any good. So the point is, this is the dalil that from the dalil you see it's manhi an, it's forbidden. But through qara'in and through other adillah, it will take it from the status of being haram to the status of being makruh. And last time we stopped at the point of anwa' al-nadri and the types of nadr. So we will talk about it today and talk about its ahkam, inshallah. قال المؤلف رحمه الله ابن قدامة من نذر طاعة لزمه فعلها. Whoever make a nadr of a ta'ah, make a nadr of an obedience, then he has or he becomes obligated to fulfill it, which takes us to talk about the types of an-nudur. 5 types of an-nudur. Any nadr can fall into one of 5 categories, can be one of 5 types. Okay? النذور. القسم الأول النذر المطلق. القسم الأول النذر المطلق. يعني this person makes a nadr لله عليه. ولا يسمي. يعني ما بذكر شيء. He say لله عليه وخلاص. That's nadr. He doesn't mention what. And he doesn't say, I promise Allah to fast next Thursday for the next 2 months. Alright? لا, he says I promise Allah, and he leaves it just like that. Okay, that is يسموه أهل العلم النذر المطلق, وهذا تجب به كفارة اليمين. ما في شيء. He swore and he did not specifically mention anything, then he becomes obligated to do كفارة يمين. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كفارة النذر إذا لم يسمي كفارة يمين. The demolition or the expiation, the diminution or the expiation of nether, where you're not, or the person is not mentioning or specifying what he gonna do, okay, then as the Prophet said, the expiation of an oath, kafarat al-yamin, as we will talk about, or we actually have talked about it already. وهذا الحديث يعني موقوف عقبة بن عامر رضي الله عنه. It stops there, it's not all the way to the Prophet, so obviously the hadith is ضعيف, but it's used in this bab for lack of adilla regarding this point. So if someone makes an oath without specifying what is the oath about, without specifying specific act, then عليه كفارة يمين. القسم الثاني قسم or نذر اللجاج والغضب. اللجاج أصل التمادي، يعني لجة أي تمادى، يعني someone knows that he's wrong yet he continues to argue. Okay, يعني you come to someone and you tell him, listen, you did something wrong, 1, 2, 3, and it's wrong, and obviously it's wrong, so he starts arguing with you and he knows that he's wrong yet he continues to argue and يتمادى في هذا. حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم والله لأن يلج أحدكم في يمينه في أهله آثم له عند الله وآثم له عند الله من أن يعطي كفارته التي افترض الله عليه. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم says in this hadith, it would be better. Someone made nadr. Let's say he made nadr that he will not buy food for his family. So you come and you tell him, or he will not sit with his family. You come and you tell him, and you, because you're angry or you're being hard-headed, okay, you need to sit, you need to buy them, you need to take care of them. He said, أنا حلفت, أنا نذرت. Okay, and I made a nadr, and I'm not changing my mind. I'm not going to have to sin by breaking my nadr. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the meaning of the hadith, يعني it's better for him to break his nadr and pay the kafara rather than يتمادى and يلج, يتمادى and continue with his wrongdoing. Okay, with his wrong doing. So it's better for him and يحنث. It's better for him to break his oath and to do the kafara rather than not fulfilling his duties. That's why the hadith لأن يلج أحدكم في يمينه في أهله آثم له عند الله من أن يعطي كفارته التي افترض الله عليه. يعني for someone أن يتمادى في إثمه في الغلط يعني في المعصية because of his oath, for him to continue and insisting to continue with the disobedience because he made an oath, no, it's better for him to break that oath and يحنث and pay his kafara than continue with the haram. قال أهل العلم إن الحنث في اليمين قد يكون أفضل من الوفاء بما حلف عليه. Sometimes you say, I can't break my oath. لا, There's sometimes, as the ulama said, sometimes it's better and preferred that you break your oath rather than continue with what you made oath in regard. Clear? Wallahi, I'll never talk to my mother. For example, you come and tell them it's haram, it's يعني كبيرة. It's من كبائر not to talk and disconnect with your mother. He said, I know it's كبيرة, but I don't want to break my oath. So that is what we are referring to. Also the Prophet ﷺ said, وَاللَّهِ لَا أَحْلِفُ عَلَى شَيْءٍ فَأَرَى غَيْرَهَا خَيْرًا مِنْهَا إِلَّا أَتَيْتُ الَّذِي هُوَ خَيْرٌ وَكَفَّرْتُ عَنْ يَمِينٍ. The Messenger ﷺ said, Allah, I don't make an oath to do something and then I find something better than what I made oath about, but I will do what's better and I would expiate my oath. Alright? So always go with the best, don't be hard-headed and say, khalas, and I swore and I'm not changing my mind. So we can see another judge, al-ghadib, is he does it with the intention, he does it with the intention of encouraging, or he does it with the intention of discouraging, okay? He does it with the intention of to stop someone from doing something. So for example, Wallahi, I will not enter this house if you leave. يعني مثلا, he has a fight with his wife and he said, Wallahi, I will not buy any food if you leave the house, for example. Or she tells him the same thing, I will not cook if you leave the house. So the intention here is to discourage him from leaving. And we mentioned this issue when we talked about, sometimes the husband will swear to divorce, okay? But actually his intention is to encourage or discourage. يعني علي الطلاق, for example, علي الطلاق, إذا ما أكلت هذا مثلا, if you don't eat this, I'll be upset. Or how many people علي الطلاق, علي الطلاق, يعني it's like a song in his mouth. Everything علي الطلاق, يعني I'll divorce my wife if you don't eat. علي الطلاق لا تأكل, علي الطلاق لا تدفع, علي, right? So we said the intention of such oath was to encourage the person to eat, or to discourage the person from paying. So for example, when we talk about al-Lajjaj here, we said, يعني for example, he says, لله علي نذر أن أصوم شهرا إن لم تفعل كذا. So the intention is either to encourage, if you don't do this, I will fast a month. For example, if you don't do this, I will give $1,000 sadaqah. If you do this, I will fast Monday. Stuff like that. So your intention is to encourage the person to do something. Your intention is to discourage the person to. Also, it can be for tasdeeq. يعني you make a statement, and you say, Lillahi alayhi, if this wasn't true, I'll fast a month, right? And I just told you a piece of information. And for example, I tell you, did you hear Ahmed is dead? So you tell him, you sure? And I saw him 2 days ago. He said, I'm sure he's dead. I'll fast a month if he's not dead, for example. So what you're trying, your intention is, you want to use a proof or you want to swear to prove your point. Okay? So that is what this, or vice versa, takdeeb. You tell him Ahmed is dead, he tell you, I'll give $1,000 in sadaqah if he's dead. So now you are takdeeb, to deny the piece of information you just heard. So if he said that, then he has to fast. If he said, if Ahmed is dead, then I'll fast 10 days. And Ahmed is dead. So he has to fast. It's nothing. If he doesn't fast, then kafar. Okay? So that is qasam al-Lajjaj. So in this scenario, as we said, he's given the option. Either he fulfills his nadr, if it gets, the condition he puts gets fulfilled. So if he says, if Ahmed is dead, I'll give $10,000. Nah, lo and behold, Ahmed is dead. So now he's given the option. Because his intention wasn't in nadr. His intention was tasdeeq or takdeeb. His intention was something else. That's what happens with the one who keeps saying alayya talaq for everything. Alayya talaq, so yeah, he gets in his car and he gonna put the key in the switch. Alayya talaq, if you don't work, alayya talaq la tishtagal, alayya talaq la tatfi, alayya talaq la reverse, alright? Some people like that. Okay, so the intention is not the divorce. The intention is the encouraging, the discouraging, the feeding, the pushing, tasdeeq, takdeeb, to make the truth clear, to piece of information to confirm. Then even with that, in divorce, we said, if you remember, divorce doesn't take place. Okay, divorce doesn't. So if I come to you and I'm eating and you come and you say, alayhi talaq, you will eat with me, and you say, I'm not eating, and you leave. Talaq dayaqa. There will be no divorce here. Okay? Because the intention wasn't the divorce. The intention was encouraging and discouraging. حديث عمران بن حسين رضي الله عنه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا نذر في غضب وكفارته كفارة يمين وإنما الأعمال بالنيات. So it's very clear. القسم الثالث نذر المباح. Okay. نذر المباح is to make an oath or a nadr to do something permissible. So for example, you say علي لله علي أن ألبس هذا الثوب غدا. Goes wrong. يعني, you go and you buy a few pieces of clothes. You're happy, you take them home, and your wife tells you, that's ugly. How many times it happens, right? So you get upset because, فنستك يعني. So you go and you say, لله علي, I will wear it tomorrow, you know. So you make another that you're gonna wear it tomorrow. Because you're upset, instead of her telling you, great choice, and when you come to her with pink shirt, alright? So you go and you say another, لا علي, لا, I will wear it tomorrow. So another mubah. It's permissible for you to wear the clothes tomorrow. لله علي أن أركب سيارة فلان, لله علي to drive someone such and such car. All that. Another al-mubah. Now also the intention here is important. يعني someone, for example, says لله علي nadr. If I get if I pass the driver license test, I'll invite you for dinner. So we ask the intention. Is your intention to give sadaqah, or your intention to celebrate the license? Okay? Because then there is a difference here. Okay? Because if your intention to celebrate, that is another mubah. Another mubah. If your intention to give sadaqah becomes another ta'ah, that's a different type. Okay? Someone said, if I pass tawjih, if I pass high school, if I get my degree, I'll invite all of you for barbecue at Brother Fuad's house. Is your intention to feed your brothers and hope Allah will reward you as sadaqah, or your intention to celebrate your degree? If it's the celebration, then it's mubah, never mubah. If it's to feed your brothers as a sadaqah, and even the piece of food you put in your wife's mouth is considered sadaqah, then that's another ta'ah. So that is, we need to distinguish between this and the other. The same hukum. You got the option. Okay? If if you make such nadr al-mubah, you have the option either to go through with it or kafara, or the expiation. Either way, you should be okay. والدليل سنن أبي داود بسند صحيح عن عمرو بن شعيب عن أبيه عن جده أن امرأة أتت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قالت يا رسول الله إني نذرت أن أضرب الدف على رأسك إن ردك الله سالما. A woman came to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم and she said, Ya Rasulullah, I made a nadr that I will أضرب الدف, you know, the little drum, the duf. It's different than the drum, طبلة يعني. But the duf they used to use, I will play with it if, or I tap on it, يعني use it if you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring you back safe. فقال عليه الصلاة والسلام أوفي بنذرك أوفي بنذرك. And يعني this is a dalil that it's permissible if someone was away and coming after a journey to use a duf or a duf, يعني مباح. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told her, fulfill your nadr, okay? أوفي بنذرك. But there is no impression that it was an obligatory, okay? And no one understood that it's an obligatory or it's an obligation to fulfill in nadr. So they took it على باب يوفاء النذر here is مستحب. فأنت مخير. You have the choice. Either you fulfill your nadr if it's mubah, or you pay or you give the kafara. القسم الرابع نذر المعصية. نذر المعصية is to make a nadr to disobey. يعني God forbid you used to drink alcohol and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you to repent. You get into a fight with a friend, a wife, sister, brother, and then they remind you, Gogo, you're alcoholic. How many times it happens, right? Always they remind you of this thing. So you're so upset, you said, you know what? Wallahi, I'm gonna go out and drink. Okay? It's like that, fine. This nadr, obviously, haram to fulfill. Haram to fulfill. Nadr al-ma'siyah, haram and forbidden to go through with it. So the other ones we have mentioned so far, got the choice. This one, nadr al-ma'siyah, you got no choice. You cannot fulfill. Wallahi, I will not pray. As we you praying, some people, some kids, he's praying and he gets an argument with his father or his mother. Wallahi, I will not pray. Alright? And doesn't understand. Mukallaf. You are not supposed to go through with this nadr. Okay? اختلف العلماء إن كان عليه كفارة. Ulama have different opinion whether, now if you made a nadr to disobey and the shara is telling you you cannot go through with it, okay, that is the basis why they have difference in opinion about that. الراجح الصحيح أن عليه كفارة. The more correct and the stronger opinion is that he who makes nadr of disobedience, to disobey, and obviously he should not go through with it. Okay? The fact he doesn't go through with it, that is as if he broke his nadr, and عليه كفارة يمين. ورد حديث صحيح لا نذر في معصية وكفارته كفارة يمين. There is no nadr في معصية. And you shouldn't make a nadr and promise to disobey. You cannot promise Allah to disobey Him. And if you do, you should not go through with it, yet you still have to give the kafara. القسم الخامس نذر الطاعة. And that is to make a nadr to obey. To make a nadr, to obey. يعني لله علي أن أصوم شهر. لله علي أن أقوم الليل كل ليل في هذا الأسبوع مثلا. You make a nadr that I promise, I make an oath to Allah to pray or make qiyam every night this week. Okay? Or لله علي أن أتصدق $1,000. I promise Allah to give in charity $1,000 in the next 2 months or 3 months. So all that, ta'ah. I promise Allah to fast for 2 weeks. Alright? All that, ta'ah. ونذر الطاعة يجب الوفاء به. يعني وجوبا. When you make a nadr to obey, you're obligated to fulfill. You're obligated to fulfill. It's not a matter of choice. You're obligated to fulfill. And we will talk about if you can't fulfill. If you made something beyond your means, okay, beyond your ability, we'll talk about that. And Ibn Qudama rahimahullah mentioned that. But here when we talk about nadr al-ta'ah, previously we said you got that choice, either to fulfill or kaffar. Except in nadr al-ma'siyah. Nadr al-ma'siyah, you cannot fulfill and kaffar. When it comes to nadr al-ta'ah, you made a nadr to obey. You are obligated, your first option is, or your first option, and you cannot leave it and move to the next option without a reason, an excuse. You're obligated to fulfill this, and if you don't fulfill it, فأنت آثم, you're sinful. You make an oath to obey and you don't do it, and you got no excuse, no legitimate excuse not to do it, then you're sinful. Someone will say, why is it sinful? If it's something I made obligatory upon myself, and now I don't want to do it. Hamas, you made it obligatory upon yourself. And the hukum of an obligation is if you don't do it, you're sinful. أنت ضيقت على نفسك من البداية. You made it tie on yourself. Allah did not make it wajib on you, you made it wajib on yourself. So you better deal with the consequence. Alright? Very important. Some people, I think Brother Zakaria last time made the comment that another means condition. It has to have condition. This is a type of another type of another, but not all in nadur have to have conditions. A lot of people think the only way nadr is nadr. If I put a condition, I'll fast a month if I feel better, if I get well, like let's say you're sick. If Allah cure me from this disease, I'll fast a month. طبعا هذا مكروه. حكم النذر بشكل عام مكروه, and this is مكروه أكثر. This is even more مكروه, and the reason for that is you're putting condition to obey. يعني تتشرط على الله. You put condition to obey. You shouldn't do that with Allah. You either want to fast, you fast. But don't say, if you do this to me, I'll fast. You're immersed in the bounties and blessings of Allah. Now you put conditions on Him to obey Him. But if you choose to do that, هذا المعلق. هذا نذر الطاعة المعلق. يعني, for example, if Allah cures me, I'll fast a month. And how many questions we hear? Allah, I was sick and I made this oath and now I can't fast. What should I do? If his son is sick, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala get him out of this, I promise Allah to give $10,000 sadaqah. The poor guy, $10,000 takes him 10 years to make. Okay? So make it difficult on himself. He comes and, what can I cannot. There's no way. I have to rob a bank to come up with $10,000. You hear that? So what should? You don't make it tie on yourself. If you want to make it, you shouldn't make another in the first place, whether mu'allaq or mutlaq. Huh? But if you, it happens that you made it, make something reasonable. Make another reasonable. After that, if you want to do more, you do. But you do not oblige yourself into it and make yourself bind. So, نذر الطاعة معلق يعني إن شفاني الله وإن شفى ابني فلله علي نصوم شهر. هذا معلق يعني conditional. مطلق خلاص لله علي نصوم شهر. Okay? I promise Allah to fast a month. That is without any conditional. قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من نذر أن يطيع الله فليطعه ومن نذر أن يعصيه فلا يعصيه. Whoever make an oath to obey Allah, he shall obey. He shall go through with it. Otherwise, if you make a pledge or an oath to disobey Allah, then you shouldn't. ويدخل في نذر الطاعة وعد العبد ربه بفعل طاعة عند حصول غرضه, which is another معلق. Okay, another معلق is to put the condition. Now be aware of this, that if you don't go through with it, that's a major sign of hypocrisy. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rebuked and scolded the munafiqeen for such behavior. They promised and they didn't fulfill. قال ابن القيم رحمه الله في إعلام الموقعين إذا قال إن سلمني الله تصدقت أو لا أتصدقن فهو وعد وعده الله فعليه أن يفي به وإلا دخل في قول الله تعالى فأعقبهم نفاقا في قلوبهم إلى يوم يلقونه. ابن القيم رحمه الله says, if someone said, if Allah keep me safe, I will give charity or I will give sadaqah. So he is obligated to give. And if he doesn't, then he shall fall under the category of those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described in Tawbah, فَأَعْقَبَهُمْ نِفَاقًا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ إِلَى يَوْمِ يَلْقَوْنَ. So they had nifaq, they promised, if Allah gives me, there's a story about a sahabi that he said, if Allah gives me, I will give sadaqah and zakayah. And then Allah gave him, and gave him, and gave him. And then the Messenger ﷺ sent him the jabi, the one who collects the zakat. He said, I'll give you tomorrow. And then I'll come to see the Prophet to give him. And he didn't. And this story, لا تصح. This story is inauthentic. Very important. And this is very famous. You'll find it in the Kutub al-Tafsir, when they give the tafsir of this ayah. قول الله تعالى ومنهم من عاهد الله لئن آتانا من فضله لنصدقن ولنكونن من الصالحين فلما آتاهم من فضله بخلوا به وتولوا وهم معرضون فأعقبهم نفاقا في قلوبهم إلى يوم يلقونه بما أخلف الله ما وعدوه. This story that is not يعني لا تصح, is not authenticated, but we look يعني the bottom line is العبرة بعموم اللفظ لا بخصوص السبب, that the hikmah is the general meaning, not the specific reason of the revelation. The general meaning is, if you promise, those people, when they promised Allah to give, if Allah would give them, so when Allah gave them, they didn't. They didn't fulfill their promise to Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, so then they are stuck with hypocrisy until the day they meet Allah. Allah described them at the end of the ayat, kadhib, as a liar. So be aware, if you promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something, now no one asks you to promise. No one asks you to promise. No one tells you to say, Wallahi, I will fast, or I will give sadaqah. No one asks you, or forced you. But once you put yourself into this position, you better fulfill. this will apply to you. Okay, so we summarize أقسام النذر for those for the late comers. القسم الأول النذر المطلق. Someone says لله علي. خلاص. He doesn't specify لله علي what. He says والله I will do. He didn't say what he will do. Wallahi I will give. He didn't say what he will give. Wallahi I will fast. He didn't say what he will fast. Okay? هذا النذر المطلق. We said حكمه
يختار. He has the action.
أو يختار بين إيش وإيش.
Fulfilling and
But fulfill what؟ هو ما ذكر شيء.
كفارته.
كفارة. عليه كفارة. النذر المطلق, when someone make a nadr and promise Allah to do something, but he doesn't specify what that thing is, as I gave the example, Wallahi I will fast, fast what? Wallahi I will pray, pray what? Wallahi I will give what? Alright? If he leaves, if he starts there, then he is obligated to give كفارة يمين, as in the hadith موقوف عقبة بن عامر. القسم الثاني نذر اللجاج والغضب. Someone who's make a nadr with the intention of to encourage, discourage, تصديق, تكذيب. If you tell someone something, you say he question, he's doubting what you're saying. You said, you know what? I'll fast 2 days if I'm right, or if I'm wrong. I'll fast 10 days if you're right. You don't believe what he's saying, so you're confident. You're confident that what he's saying isn't true. So you'll tell him to prove your point. You know what? I'll give you $1,000 if you're right. Now with this, if he's right, now if he's wrong, there's nothing on him. If he's wrong, we don't say there's nothing to fulfill, there is no hint. You understand? But if what you said, what the fact is against what you said, then that is when you're stuck. So then now you have the option. In this issue, you have the option. Either to go through and fulfill, or kafarat. Okay? So that is what is حلف اللجاج or نذر اللجاج. القسم الثالث نذر المباح. Someone said, Wallahi, tomorrow I'll wear this shirt. So if tomorrow comes, if he wears it, he's fine. Or he has the choice. Now when we say he has the choice, what we're saying is if he doesn't do what he swore to do, then he's not athim. He's not sinful. Yani, whether he does what he promised or he goes with the kafara, he's fine. So what? Because when it comes to nadr al-ta'a, it's different. Okay? As we will see. النذر الرابع أو القسم الرابع نذر المعصية. To make a nadr to disobey. So someone says, Allah, if I will tomorrow, if I pass, tomorrow I'll go get a shot. Drink. Party. Well, that is haram. Okay? As we give the examples, many examples, and the Prophet said, النذر معصية من نذر أن يعصي الله فلا يعصي. So this one is obligated not to go through with it. وعليه كفارة. Yet he's still obligated to give the kafara. القسم الخامس نذر الطاعة. We said يجب الوفاء به. نذر الطاعة is obligated to fulfill. Now he doesn't have the option. Yeah, he has an option to go to the kafara if fulfilling the nadr is impossible or difficult. But if fulfilling the nadr, يعني مثلا an old guy, he said he gets never been in a plane. But once he's in the plane, he's scared. He said, if Allah brings me down safe, I'll fast a month. He's old. يعني يلا صايم رمضان. Okay? So he comes, after Allah brings them down. As if you find people, they get so scared in the plane. Why are you afraid? Afraid, we're in the air. Anything can happen. On earth, it's not like anything can happen. That's the reality. Seriously? I'm serious, right? That's the problem we have. Because we think if we're on the ground, we're safe. Well, anything can happen. Most people die underground anyway, not in the air, right? So the point is, once he lands, alhamdulillah, he's safe. Now it's time to fast the month. No way. Now I'm old. I can't fast a month. He has his own hukm. But the bottom line is, if you promise or make a nadr to obey, then you better fulfill. Once you cannot fulfill, then you move to the next, which is the kafara. Clear? The other ones, you have the option. They're equal. Either you fulfill or you pay kafara. With the ma'siyah, you got no option but the kafara. In a ta'a, you got no option but to fulfill the oath or the nadr, unless it's beyond your ability. قال المؤلف رحمه الله من نذر طاعة لزمه فعلها. And that is, we said, whoever make another to obey, he's supposed to fulfill it. قال فإن كان لا يطيق. لا يطيق ايه؟ نذر or طاعة. طاعة. If he cannot fulfill the obedience, because he's obligated to fulfill it. Now, what if he cannot do it? كشيخ نذر صياما لا يطيقه فعليه كفارة يمين. Okay? فعليه كفارة يمين. If he makes another to obey and it's beyond his ability, then he has to go to the كفارة. قال فإن كان لا يطيق فعليه كفارة يمين. قال ابن عبد البر في الاستذكار السنة ثابتة في هذا الباب قال دالة على طرح المشقة فيه عن كل متقرب إلى الله عز وجل بشيء منه. ويؤيد هذا قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في قصة أبي إسرائيل إن الله غني عن تعذيب هذا نفسه. We will come to this story of Abu Israel, but the point is, whenever you obey, you promise to obey Allah, and that will put hardship on you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fi ghina anna. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want you to go through hardship. And when He puts you through a hardship, it's to test you. And when He puts you through a hardship, to make you better. As we always say, diamond is made out of coal, rocks in the middle of the earth. But with too much pressure and heat, it turns into diamond, precious. Gold, the best gold is the one that is heated the most precious, because it will be empty from any contamination. So the point is, Allah will put you through hard, but Allah doesn't want you to be through. Allah doesn't want you to put yourself in hardships to prove you love Him, especially the ones you choose. So the bottom or the basic or the default with this, if the obedience that you made nadr to fulfill is beyond or too much on you, you can do it, but it's too much. You're gonna struggle, you're gonna suffer. Then Allah fi ghina anna. Alright? Allah doesn't want you to do it. Then you go from fulfilling another to kafar. So not only I cannot do it, yes, I can do it, but it will be so extremely difficult. Don't do it. Go to the kafar. You understand? That is what it is. قال المؤلف ومن نذر المشي إلى بيت الله الحرام لم يجزه المشي إلا في حج أو عمرة. If someone make an oath or another to walk to Mecca or to Medina, Bayt Allah, to Mecca. Someone make an oath to walk to Mecca. he or it will not satisfy him. Now it's obedience. Huh? We know that you walk to the masjid, with every step Allah removes a sayyah and gives you hasana and raises your rank. Huh? Then that is ta'ah. But now the ulama said, if someone make a nadr to walk to the Bayt to Mecca, then will not satisfy him but to walk to Mecca to perform Hajj or Umrah. Because that is then why people walk to Mecca. In general, people go to Mecca for Hajj or Umrah, not for business, not for tourism, not to check the time with the new clock. They go to Mecca for Hajj or Umrah. So he who makes a nadr to walk to Mecca from wherever he is, then will not be satisfactory unless he walks to perform Hajj or Umrah. قال فإن عجز عن المشي ركب. Now if he cannot walk all the way, then he can ride. Okay? He can ride. But you can see here, they're giving him an option before for the kafar. Okay, you made nadr to go to Mecca, to walk to Mecca. It's too difficult to walk. Yeah, and if you're going from, let's say someone in Morocco, and he said, I make nadr to walk to Mecca. Okay. So he start walking, then they tell him, there's a war in Libya. Alright? So, now it's dangerous. So, he arrives. Okay? Because the same point, we go back to the same point, is do not make it hard on yourself. Allah doesn't want it to be hard on you. جاء في الصحيحين عن عقبة بن عامر رضي الله عنه قال نذرت أختي أن تمشي إلى بيت الله الحرام حافية. عقبة بن عامر, his sister, made a nadr to walk to Mecca barefooted. Kareem always has something. Uqba ibn Amir, sister, made a nadr that she will walk to Mecca barefooted. فأمرتني أن أستفتي لها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فاستفتيته فقال لي تمشي ولتركب. She asked Uqba رضي الله عنهما to ask the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم about her nadr. So the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, let her walk and ride. Okay, let her walk and ride. So it make it easier. وفي رواية أبي داود وأن تكفر كفارة يمين. أن تكفر كفارة يمين. So based on this narration of Abu Dawud, زيادة, then if you ride, عليك كفارة. But you can ride. Okay? Because walking is difficult, and walking will be very will come with a lot of hardship on it. Okay? So you ride, the Prophet ﷺ, obviously the question is, wasn't she can't? Because we said with kafarat, with nadr al-ta'a, we said you have to fulfill it. But what we are talking about here right now is making a nadr that is so severely difficult. So the Sharia doesn't want you to put so much difficulty on yourself. So the Prophet ﷺ said, she can walk and she can ride, but let her give kafar. Because she made an oath to walk all the way. But in general, if someone says, I promise, I make another to walk from my house to the masjid, and let's say between his house and the masjid, a mile, then we don't tell him ride, walk and ride. It's not difficult. You understand? And if he rides, it's kafar. But if someone says, I will walk to the masjid in Washington, D.C., okay, and that is too difficult for him. And based on nadr al-ta'a, if he doesn't walk then he's sinful. But the fact it's so hard, and Allah doesn't want you to be suffering, then you are excused to ride. But you have to give the kafar. Clear? And inshallah, without sin. قال ابن عبد البر قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال المؤلف رحمه الله وإن نذر صوما متتابعا فعجز عن التتابع صام متفرقا وكفر. Someone made another to fast 30 days continuous. Continuous يعني day after day after day. Not like the 30 days one fast. فعجز. He couldn't fulfill. Now if he can fulfill, let him fulfill. But if he cannot fulfill, then the ulama said he should fast separate. But he should fast. Just the same thing with the mission. They should try to want, but they can't ride for breaks, for example. With the fasting, he said, I'm going to fast the whole month every day. And then he realized there is no way I can do it, or it's too difficult. And they said, you fast 30 days. They don't have to be one after another. But you give kafara because you are not fulfilling your nadr the way you made it. Clear?
Kafara for the whole month or like
one kafara for nadr.
Only one kafara
for nadr. وإن ترك التتابع لعذر في أثناء خير بين استئنافه وبين البناء والتكفير. If someone make another to fast 30 days continuous, and after 10 days he got sick, okay, then he's given the option. Either يستأنف يعني إيه؟ ها؟ لا يستأنف يبدأ من جديد. يستأنف يعني to start over from the zero. Because his nether is to fast 30 continuous. Alright? So he got sick, he broke it. Now the nether is not being fulfilled the way it should. And again takes us to the point where you put yourself in this position. Look, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make a kafara to fast 2 months, if it happens that you break your fast for an excuse, let's say you're traveling, let's say you're sick, let's say you go unconscious, automatically your fasting breaks. Then when you back, or when the excuse is left, you continue. But here you made it difficult on yourself. You chose to fast a month straight, and you need to fast a month straight. Otherwise, fast to avoid the sin. So, for example, after 10 days, he got sick, couldn't fast for 2 days. He's given the option to fulfill his nadr. Either he goes back and start all over again, 30 continuous, and that will fulfill his nadr, because his nadr was 30 days. Remember, the point of a nadr is the ta'ah itself. That's what we're concerned about. Or to continue 20 more. But now what happened? Kafara. Why? Because the nadr was not fulfilled 30 days straight. Alright? قال وإن تركه لغير عذر وجب استئنافه لأنه نذر طاعة. If someone fasts 10 days and then he feels like, you know what, I don't feel like fasting today, but he doesn't have an excuse, then he must start all over again. Okay? He must start all over again because it's nadr طاعة. قال وإن نذر معينا فأفطر في بعضه أتمه وقضى وكفر بكل حال. If someone says لا علي نصوم الخميس, he makes another to fast Thursday, next Thursday, this Thursday coming. So he starts fasting, and then he checked the clock, and he checked the time for Maghrib. It's 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. If I knew Maghrib was at 8, I would have not made it. So at 1 o'clock he breaks his fast. he's still obligated to what? To continue the day, make it up, and give kafara. Why he should give kafara? Why he cannot just make it up?
On Thursday.
Huh?
Because he breaks the ta'ah, because it's a ta'ah.
Sahih, but why when he said month straight, we said if you start all over again, then there is no kafara. But here, if you even fast, make it up, you still have to give kafara.
Because you broke the day. It's a specific day.
Specific day. Because when he said I will fast a month straight, any month will fulfill. But when I specify that May 13, today 11, right? Or the 10th. So May 12, I will fast. If you break your fast, there is no more May 12, 2011. There is no way it's coming back in your dreams. All right. So even if you fast a day to substitute, it's still what? You never fulfilled another. But if in Ramadan, the 2nd of Ramadan, 1432, and you didn't fast, can you make it up? Sure. You didn't fast for an excuse. You make it up, right? Okay. قال وإن نذر رقبة فهي التي تجزي عن الواجب إلا أن ينوي رقبة بعينها. Someone made a nether to free a slave, then any slave will do. But if he said, I will make a nether to free my brother's Ali's slave, then he got to free his brother Ali's slave. Alright? قال ولا نذر في معصية, which is what we said, عليه كفارة يمين. ولا نذر مباح. ولا نذر مباح, not like he cannot do نذر مباح. But what he's referring to is he got the choice. He's not obligated to fulfill. He got the option, fulfill or kafara. Like with the one who said, I will fast a month straight, and then after 10 days he got tired of it, so he said, no more, I'm going to just give kafara. Can he do that?
No.
Why?
To fulfill.
Sure. You see, we never said, for the one who got sick after 10 days, we didn't say, just give kafara and so. No, because he's obligated to fulfill the النذر. قال ولا فيما لا يملك ابن آدم. You cannot make nether for something you don't own. Someone say, and Allah, if Allah gets me out of this trouble, I'm gonna give Brother Umar's car in sadaqah. You know, you can't do that. Okay, as the story of the woman who was kidnapped on the camel of the Prophet ﷺ. She managed to escape at night, and she said, if Allah returns me to Medina, I will sacrifice you to the camel. And it doesn't even belong to her. It's the Prophet ﷺ. And the camel of the Prophet ﷺ managed to get her back to Medina. And then when she was about to sacrifice it, that's how you pay her off. She got you back and you pay her off by slaughtering her. You understand? So you cannot give sadaqah in what you don't own. ولا فيما قصد به اليمين. يعني which type?
Why?
The judge. غضب. And now we said the judge, when he makes nether to encourage, to discourage, his intention is not to give or to do the specific. His intention was to encourage or discourage, just like the talaq. عليه الطلاق لترك. His intention isn't the divorce. His intention is the eating. Alright. قال ولا نذر إلا فيما ابتغي وجه الله تعالى. يعني you don't make a nether هذا من العبادات. لما تنذر لله تنذر للتوحيد. You don't say if Allah gets me out of this trouble, I will sacrifice a goat next to such and such grave, next to so and so grave. I'll make tawaf around a grave. That's what a lot of people do. You know, that's shirk. So when you make a nadr to do ta'ah, because the other nadur has nothing, most of them have nothing, but even if your nadr has to do with ta'ah, it has to be for Allah. For Allah. Very important. قال وإن جمع في النذر بين الطاعة وغيرها فعليه الوفاء بالطاعة وحدها. If he combines, يعني someone said, Wallahi, I will fast a month and
Give Omar's card to somebody.
and give Omar's card to somebody. He's only obligated to fulfill the ta'ah. Or even the other types. Allah, I'll fast a month and drink 7-Up. You guys thought I was going to say something else. Drinking 7-Up is? What kind of nadr? Mubah. So he's only obligated to fulfill the nadr that has ta'ah in it. Okay. Hey, there's a little more, but we see the time for it. But I finish with this hadith quick. روى ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال أبصر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رجلا قائما جاء تسميته في بعض الروايات أن اسمه أبو إسرائيل فسأل عنه فقال أبو إسرائيل نذر أن يقوم في الشمس ولا يقعد ولا يستظل ولا يتكلم ويصوم. صحابي, they're traveling, he made a nadr that he will not get the shade, he will not sit in the shade, he will not sit down, period, and he will not get a shade, and he will stand under the sun, and he will not talk, and he will fast. I think he went unconscious. So the Sahaba gathered around him. That's why the Prophet, it got the attention of the Prophet. Okay? So the Prophet ﷺ, and you find people like that every time, now and then. فأبلغ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بهذا قال إن رجلا قد نذر هذا النذر واقف في الشمس لا يستظل ولا يقعد وهو صائم فقال عليه الصلاة والسلام مروه فليتكلم وليستظل وليقعد وليتم صومه إن الله غني عن تعذيب هذا نفسه. So you see, this man promised few things, 5 things. Not to sit in the shade, to sit under the sun, not to talk, not to sit, and to fast. Okay? So the Prophet ﷺ, when he found out, he said, order him to seek some shade, and to sit down, and to talk, and to continue his fast. Out of all these things, it's only the fasting that is ta'ah. Everything else, either mubah or ma'si. And when I put myself under the sun, and I know it's gonna okay, dehydrate me or kill me or get me unconscious and I'm fasting, then it becomes ma'siyah, because you're putting yourself into destruction. So the Prophet ﷺ ordered him not to do the 4 things and to continue his fasting. ويقول الله تعالى ما يفعل الله بعذابكم إن شكرتم وآمنتم. قال وإن قال لله علي نذر ولم يسمي فعليه كفارة يمين. We talked about that. طيب, we finish with this. Someone, and it's not even in the book, someone made a nadr, if I do this ma'siyah, I'll fast 3 days. يعني someone smokes. أجارنا الله إياكم من smoking. Someone said that wants to stop. So he said, you know what? Every time I smoke a cigarette, I promise Allah to give $100. Sadaqah. He's trying what? To encourage himself to stop. What kind of nadr is this?
His need is not to do sadaqah, his need is to encourage himself.
Sure. But can we say he's with اللجاج الذي يتمادى بالإثم
مقيد، the opposite.
or الغضب العكس. So in other words, he's making a nadr for what? لا, for طاعة. So he's trying, yeah, but stop. You said his intention to stop smoking, which is
طاعة.
طاعة.
تستوى معصية زمان.
خلاص. طاعة. So this kind of nadr falls under طاعة. So he's obligated to fulfill. Got it?
Even he's gonna commit massive.
No, we don't tell him commit ma'siyah. He's not committing ma'siyah.
You're gonna start and pay money.
He's already smoking. So he's trying to stop himself. So he said, if I smoke, every time I smoke a cigarette, I gotta give $100. So he's making it difficult on himself. La. He's not saying, every time I will smoke, I reward myself by giving $100. La. He's trying to hold himself back. He wants to threaten himself. If I smoke a cigarette, I'm gonna give $100. And it reaches a point where giving $100 for each cigarette, that's very expensive. Okay? So what his intention was, not to smoke, which is ta'a. So this is another ta'a he's supposed to fulfill. And the ulama have different opinion about this. It's either this, another ta'a, or falls under the category of lajaj, which is to discourage himself or encourage himself. But
And the rules of Lajjaj apply, even if the name is not really.
Sure. If we go with that opinion, then we say he got the option either to give the kafara or to pay the $100 when he smokes. All right. But if we go with another ta'a, we say he got no option but to
Fulfill the ta'a, but what can you do if he actually smokes?
خلاص, if he smokes, then عليه kafara and fulfills.
The $100?
You remember we said with nadr ta'a, you have to fulfill in nadr, and if you don't fulfill it the way you're supposed to, عليه kafara. Just like the person who said I fast 30 days straight. If he, after 10 days, he changes his mind, then we say, no. You still have to fast 30 days. If he fasts 30 days straight, then he's fine. But if he said, okay, I'll continue 20 more, then he fasted 30, but not straight, alayhi kafara, like the one with the excuse, remember?
Yes.
So in this case, since it's another ta'a, we said you have to fulfill it. First, fulfill it with what? Not smoking. But if it happens you smoke, then you have to give the $100.
This sign from Water said that whoever brings his fast on without no excuse, he has to fast 60 days for 1 day. Isn't this sign authentic? From Water, I'm a medic.
What?
Let's
Fast
say if he was fasting in Ramadan.
for what? Oh, one for Ramadan?
And you made
لم يكفي صيام الدهر. But the ulama, they said he should make up for that day. If someone breaks his fast in Ramadan, طبعا the first thing he should repent without an excuse. He should repent, and then the ulama different. Should he make it up or not make it up? Because there's hadith, it's not sufficient for him to fast the whole year. But some of the ulama said that he should make it up for to be out of the argument. But the point is, with this issue, again, looks like some confusion here. Someone said, if I don't, every time I smoke a cigarette, I'm gonna give $100, trying to stop himself. So he goes and he smokes a cigarette. Now, what was his oath for? Not to smoke. That's why it's fine. But once he smoked, he made a promise he's gonna pay $100. So when it comes to the $100, we say, okay, do we give him the option? If we go with the opinion that this is another ta'a, then what is his options?
He has to pay the 100.
He has to pay the $100.
And kafara.
لا ليش كفارة؟
Then he didn't fulfill.
If he didn't fulfill that, $100.
But he didn't fulfill the nether, which is this.
Another is the $100. Another is not the. Yeah, so let's go back to another ta'a. Let's just make it straight. Another ta'a. Someone said, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me the chance to meet Brother Umar, I give $1 million. Yeah. Brother Umar was there. So I did my job to meet him. Now I have to give 100. My intention is not to see him. My intention is to give. Because if it was to see him, it's a different story. Then that is another mubah. Or let's make it simple. Someone said, Lillahi alayh, to give $1 million. Another طاعة ولا لا؟ صدقة. Or let's make it even closer to this. Someone said, if Allah, let's say someone's son is sick, if Allah cures my son, I will give $1 million صدقة. طيب يا شيخ بس لو تسمح لنا دقيقة. Allah, I didn't know he's here.
Took minutes.
Allah يبارك. So now he wants to give the $1 million sadaqah. What is his options?
To give them,
He has to fulfill it.
start.
He has to fulfill.
Start.
Let's say this guy doesn't have money. There's no way he's going to ever have $1 million. Then we go to the kafara. Right? With the example we have, just don't get stuck with the if I smoke. Because you will see it as disobedience. لا. He's trying to stop himself from smoking. So he says, every time I smoke a cigarette, I'm gonna give $100. So if we take this to be the type of nadr that is nadr ta'ah, because what he's trying to do, trying not to smoke. Okay? Like someone who says, if Allah gives me the chance to pray Isha in Jama'ah, I'll give $100. So if he prayed Isha, that's ta'ah, he'll give the $100. Okay?
It's fulfilled.
But if he doesn't pray Isha, لا ما عليه كفارة. He will give the 100 if he prays Isha. He's driving and he's late and he says, if I make the takbirat al-ihram, I'll give $100. So he didn't make takbirat al-ihram. He kafara? No. La. But if he made takbirat al-ihram, then he's obligated to give the $100. Same thing here. If he says, if I smoke, I'll give $100. So if he ends up smoking, does he have to give the $100? Khalas, he fulfilled his nadr. Forget about it, there's no ma'siyah here. Of course, there's ma'siyah of smoking. But if he doesn't smoke, does he have to give kafara?
No.
Khalas, because the nadr did not meet. The condition of the nadr was not fulfilled, which is to smoke. If he smokes, and he said, I'll just give 50. Did he fulfill the nadr?
No.
Then he gets it. Clear? But again, that's alright? So we'll stop here, inshallah. And inshallah, Brother Kareem brought to my attention an issue. We'll discuss it next time. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.